All right, welcome back into the Yoop Scoop. I'm Tor Thorne in for Rebecca Bartlemay, and joining me today in studio is Ben Eckola with Michigan State Police. How's it going?
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about some tips for going back to school today. School season right around the corner here in the UP. We wanted to start talking about safety for kids getting to school and kind of that change in routine going from summer months into the fall. What do parents need to know in terms of planning ahead so they're not rushing, getting to the school?
Yeah, so it's school is going to be starting for most area districts over the next couple of weeks. So it's important just to be aware of that, whether you have young students at home or just you're just a member of the community. It's important to just be aware of that and to plan ahead. Everyone has their morning routines. They have their typical stops or estimate of time, how much they need to get to their destinations in the morning. Plan for that little extra time. As school is starting back up, the school buses will be back out. The kids will be, at the bus stops and heading to and from school. So just plan for some extra time so you're not rushed in getting to your destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And particularly kind of in the warmer months of the school year in September, more kids probably walking and biking to school. That's something for drivers to be aware of too. Coming to the school, there might be kids running across the street, excited to get into the building.
Yes, yep. So kids are going to be excited to come back to school. So be extra alert if you're driving in areas where the kiddos might be. School zones for sure. Follow the speed limits. There's reduced speed limits. There'll be signs indicating what those limits are. Reduce your speed. Stay extra alert because the kids, they could come out from really anywhere. So be cognizant and alert of when you're traveling through these school zones and areas where the kids might be.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there tips too you want to give for what people should know? They see a school bus with kids on it, flashing lights, that sort of thing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so if you are traveling and you see a school bus and it starts activating its flashing lights, it'll start with its yellow lights. That's just like a traffic light. You need to start slowing down. It shouldn't be that you accelerate trying to beat the light or beat the school bus.
Sure.
You need to slow down and be prepared to stop because that means the school bus is going to be activating its red flashing lights and kids are going to be entering or exiting that school bus. So you need to, when you come to a stop, give at least 20 feet distance between yourself and that school bus so the kids can have a safe amount of room to get on or off that school bus.
And then for kids that are either riding the bus or walking, biking to school, crossing streets, that sort of thing, what should parents go over with kids in terms of, you hope the drivers are driving safely, but what should kids know about safe, being a pedestrian in a safe way?
Yeah, have those conversations with your children. If they're going to be walking or biking to school, making sure they're aware of the route they should take. The proper ways to be stopping and checking for traffic, and good ideas also are to be have some type of light or reflective material either on their backpack or on their coat, or if they're on a bike. Those are good ways to bring extra visibility to yourself, so the other motorists or bicyclists or just people out can see you, and that's important.
Absolutely. And then something else I wanted to talk about is the OK to Say app. That's a resource for kids to report things or if they see something that's maybe not safe.
Yeah, so we encourage, if you see something, say something. And what we mean by that, if there's something, as a student, or even you could be a faculty member as a parent, but mostly for students, if there's something you see that makes you feel uncomfortable, it could be a stranger on the school property, it could be something else in the school, it could be a friend going through a mental health crisis, drugs in the school, it could be anything. We encourage you to say something. Talk to your parents, but also report that to a teacher or principal. But sometimes that can be intimidating for students. They don't want to be known as the person that told on somebody. So this OK to Say program is a great way that they can report what's making them feel uncomfortable at school, and do it anonymously or confidentially. So it could be anything ranging from bullying or drugs in the school, or even some type of threat. It's just a way, a tool that they can use to report that anonymously to law enforcement, which can help us look into the situation and make the appropriate decisions from there.
Okay, great. And I wanted to ask too about school starting up. Obviously a very exciting time for parents. They might want to share photos, that sort of thing, on Facebook or social media. What should they know about staying safe in that kind of avenue?
Sure. So as expected, parents are proud of their kids. They want to highlight their kids' achievements and that they are progressing into the next grade or starting school for the first time, et cetera. And that's to be expected, and that's awesome. But we just encourage that you don't overshare details about your child, because there are people that are online predators or those type of things that, they're looking for specific details, or it could be just general, online scammers or whatever. If you're posting a lot of information about your children and your family, that could be used in a negative manner. So, you don't want to be scared to highlight your kids' accomplishments, but just limit some of the details. Don't necessarily put exactly what classroom they're going to be in, or what times they're being picked up or dropped off from school. What grade necessarily they're going in, because it can be pretty easy for these online scammers or predators to figure out exactly what the schedules are. It's also just a good idea for, we talked about travel to and from school. Have those conversations with your kids about who is allowed to pick them up or drop them off from school. If there's a select number of people, make sure you communicate that with your child. I know there's some parents that will have some sort of safe word or code word that say, if someone is coming to the school and saying, hey, your mom or dad told me to pick you up, come with me, that could be confusing for kids, even if this was a stranger. So those are just simple ways that you could communicate with your child and make sure that they're aware of who they should get into a vehicle with or leave from school. Stranger danger, right? So if they're not aware of if it's someone that shouldn't be, they're not aware that's on the pickup or drop-off list, mom and dad haven't talked to them about that, go report that to a teacher or a principal.
Okay, perfect. Great information.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to be here today.
Happy to be here.
All right. We'll be right back with more after this break.